As I had finally penetrated the very core of my soul.
さあ、待ちかねただろう。ここに誓いを果たしてやる。
As an Bearer created by them, I would transcend my role to the confines of my existence. I would return to the world of the living as the man. I would reclaim the ephemeral moment I longed for since ages past. The essence of emanating craving had not changed, yet my heart, having sworn to eradicate all aberrations with this battle, including myself, appears to give birth to something new. Yeah, you look something new. Or perhaps that was my true form. I mean, we had true form of Mercurius, which looks exactly the same, so I'm confused why the range suddenly changed like that. The embodiment of my deepest passion, the ephemeral moment. A prison of time that forced all the cosmos to halt. My blades now acted as the hands of the clock representing the universe itself. What? And with that newly attained godhood, I would... I don't need any power born for... I don't need any power born for their convenience alone. I could have it back for all I cared. There would be no new world for me as long as the poison of Mercury still coursed through my veins. Isn't that right, Shiro? Comrade. I would rinse the curse from my flesh and attain my true self. For only beyond that threshold lay my future with her. Never mind, it's not Reinhardt and Ren against Mercurius. It's like Mercurius and Reinhardt versus Ren. What? The roar of the bottom of my soul reverberated across the cosmos, shaking the throne to its foundations as it reached the two grand pillars, Gold and Mercury. I might have cut episodes in different places because I don't know where to end.
なんとも愉快なことだな、カーリオ。これも妙理と言えるのではないのかな。私も彼も等しく下脱を求めている。己の祈りを信じながら思いを完遂すると決めているのだ。もはや父の庇護はいらんとな。故に刑も刑で子に超えられる充足を楽しんでみるがいい。いいや。
Reinhardt paused for a moment, directing his eyes now sparkling almost blindingly gold towards the man he called friend.
私はこれこそしかりと感じているぞ。少子な。
Mercurius rejected the notion with a second delay, giving us a blood-curdling look from atop his throne, before continuing in an exasperated tone.
それは勘違いだ、我が友、そして我が息子よ。私はこんな展開など望んでいない。
Yeah, he wants to die by Mari hand.
その事実が震えるほどに私のすべてを打ちのめす。
Oh, there he is. Where he addressed us with his usual loveliness and mock courtesy, I could tell he had been slowly undergoing a gradual change. Or rather, he was returning to his true self. Yeah, we saw that.
その果てに筋書きを外れたならば、確かに是と言えるのかもしれんがね。
Mercurius' true self looks exactly like normal Mercurius, outside of the giant snakes behind him. Ren is like, what the fuck happened to Ren?
だが違うのだよ。座にある私は否と告げる。ああ、嫌だ。認めない。このような終わりなど許せない。
It sounded almost as if he was relying someone else's will in outperformance, but in no incoherent with his being. Both Reinhardt and I understood this phenomenon. He, the all-father and master of all existence, was coming out of his shell. Not Karl Kraft, not Cagliostro or Saint Germain, not Paracelsus, but he, the origin of the embodiment of the word of foreknowledge. A two-headed serpent, whose name had been lost long to the eons, gradually called forth from the shadow enveloping the cosmos, following a mercury-laden trail. Oh wait, so his true form are actually the snakes, right? I felt like this is like additional to his body or something, or his power. But like these snakes are actually things that you have to kill, not like this one. The Supreme Being.
だというのに、私はお前たちが苦しく愛しい、愛わしく腹立たしく、ああ冗談ではない。だがたたえよう我が子らよ。この時こそ私はずっと待っていたと、そう感じる魂にも嫌はない。
A craving built on contradiction, he lamented his failure by celebrating the advent of his long-awaited apotheosis. Reinhardt was to him what Shiro was to me. Now that they faced each other on equal grounds, the mercurial snake would walk the path to destruction, regretting the outcome of the jubilation. That was one law not even he could resist. In other words,
お前は積んでる。自覚しろ。
I would pause this ludicrous opera to an end.
英語回帰の終焉だ。
Your eternal occurrence dies here. Hold your children!
しかり、その基地感は枯渇している。迷惑だ。今こそ幕を引くとしよう。
I still can't get over like how Eren looks and what is his background. What the hell? What happens? What's Mari doing? Because it seems like Mari and Ren doing separate things now. Even the void, feeling the space trembled in fear at the sight of Longinus. The throne itself had been freezing, under the influence of the executioner blades. God damn it. The destiny of the universe will be decided here and now.
違うな。これは始まりだ。新たな世界への幕開けとなる。故にお前たちはもういらん。これより先は女神の一人舞台でなくてはならぬから、用済みの役者には退場願おう。それが私の座の意志と知れ。
Killing Intel, bloodlust, the core of the universe, sentences to death with such ferocity, the very cosmos felt its overwhelming ripples, and every other man would have been vaporized by its force, their souls reduced to nothingness in the blink of an eye. But what of it?
もうこれ以上お前の手玉になるつもりはないんだよ。
Wow, this is the choice from the previous ending. Our goal coincided in the sense that we both wished for my reward. However, there was one core element that set our paths apart. To him, everyone, save for Mari, was secondary. He saw no difference between Humoro and the speckle's dust. I could allow him to hold control over the throne at the dawn of the new world. I would take his conductor's baton and snap it in half. The bastard had no business meddling in our future.
ついさっき前まではそうするしかないのかと内心軸地たるものがあったけどな。そこはお前と同じで連れに恵まれてたから助かったよ。
I had no shortage of friends who wished to murder the Mercury inside me. And in the sense, my current actions were without a doubt those of the person intending to commit suicide. Kinda, yeah. Because destroying Mercurius means destroying yourself. Which was why they had meaning.
俺の本当の名前が何なのか。
I was certain I would discover it at the end of this battle. I would finally be able to face the one I loved as my true self, as Lotus, huh?
お前を倒せばその部分だけが絶対に残る。水銀の自滅衝動は人であった俺には関係ないものだから。
I had never been a grand enough being to be worthy of the throne Unlike the purebloods like those bastards in Mali, I was a mongrel. With the death of my father and the end of his influence, I would lose my godhood. And Reinhardt too! As we learned from the previous ending. As I realized that, there was one thing left for me to do. My sole objective had always been to return to my ordinary life. And that hadn't changed this entire time. I believed in it with all my heart. Yep.
ようやく K が同じところに降りてきたと感じ
Oh, Reinhardt being happy as always, god damn it. Reinhardt let out a joyful snort in response to my spiel. He too had his excitement hit the ultimate threshold as he gazed up at Mercurius.
いつも影のように K は言った。一歩下がって私を立て、しかしその実、追従していたのはどちらの方か。今や考えるまでもない。高原は遥か上。見上げる。挑む。皆初めてのことだ。感謝しよう。そして K も。ことここに至っては、もはや代替などと呼べないな。K は K だ。
I agree with Reinhardt.
切なよ。
He's still part of Mercurius, he's created by Mercurius, but he's his own avatar basically, yeah.
私と友の工場に割って入るななどと言いはせぬ。むしろより華々しき戦となった事態を嬉しく。私は全てを愛している。ゆえもろともに壊してやろう。来るがいい。
That's why you mentioned that fight between Mercurius and Reinhardt will be even crazier in this ending. I did not expect that their end to have like some kind of like new badass form.
言われなくても。
The ripples of godhood and genuine lust for battle filled the singularity in the surging torrent of unchained cravings. The waves raged, swelled, and ultimately erupted. This is cool. Holy shit. And thus the curtains opened on the climatic final battle. Do I cut episode here? I don't know. Whoa, this soundtrack. Is it new? I don't know if this is new or not, but this is epic. You know what? I will just like keep recording, I guess, because I don't know. I have no idea where to cut episodes. I literally have no idea. I really have no idea where to cut them. So I will just continue and cut if I will find space. I think we might have like this irae week or something. Like have multiple episodes like going day by day or something. I have a feeling like this is happening right now. But before that I will go and get something to drink because I may be here like for another hour or something, so be right back. Okay, I actually took a lot of break, like hour or maybe more, so I'm fresh and I can continue. I don't know where I ended last episode. I mean, I'm still on the same recording session, so let's just continue and see this epic battle. Who's going to emerge victorious? Come on, it's going to be Ren, right? And Mari. The initial assault came thundering down from the Golden Beast. The most ferocious and most aggressive of the three, Reinhardt's divine luster raged, eager to chain the very heavens to his dominion. His love, destructive and cataclysmic, surged forth into the singularity. His love burned fierce and true, ravaging the stars, leaving ruination in its wake. Such was the locus of his one and sole desire. his soul awash in its colors, intent on painting the universe anew. For his was the splendor of the supreme monarch, violent, furious, like hellfire incarnate, an affection of love in its most unattained and purest form. Also, I realized like this soundtrack is basically another version of the main soundtrack that is playing in the main menu. So this is Evocate, but another version. In light of the terrible battle at end, the funeral ode to the world governed by the foreknowledge, sung to terminate the new heir to the throne. This development should have hardly elicit surprise, and yet wouldn't a statement that negated the unexpected, in turn, ring ever so unnatural in the struggle that should have been so beyond mortal comprehension? But perhaps one could allow themselves a wordplay of sorts and argue that the reverse of the reverse birth they observed. What? Wait, what the fuck? What will source argue that the reverse of reverse birth they observe? Obverse. Ta. Reverse of reverse birth the obverse. Okay. The absolute height of all and everything was purity itself, and as such, its summit was unfit to be adorned with redundancy. As cliché and threadbare a play it would lead to, that alone was true to the apex of existence. Reinhardt was terror to behold, that was all that mattered, and all who occupied the space knew the indisputable truth of it. Yep. Wait. That's different? Or is it the same? I forgot. Okay, he summons his stuff, yeah. Look how happy Spina is to be a bug. As such, while the other two demigods regarded his hegemony in reverence, neither showed even the faintest hint of surprise. For they felt all encompassing charge of Reinhardt Legion, as armies wrought from the beast's very core, to have been inevitable as the first move to launch the cosmos-shattering conflict. Wait. The other two demigods... What do you mean? I mean, all of you here are basically gods. You are not demigods. Right? So who does he mean? I mean, like, his, like, LDO members are basically demigods. If you think about this. So what do you mean by two other demigods? Huh. Indeed, every fiber of his being was now called forth onto the field of battle. Rapture assaulted his soul in ripples as he, for the first time in his life, felt the catharsis of having attained his long-coveted freedom. Unable to hold back, the golden beast was utterly and completely unconcerned with his mind, flesh, and immortal soul, crumbling beneath such a crippling release of power. Rusauka!
おお、身が震える、魂が叫ぶ。これが歓喜か、これが恐怖か。私は今生きている。思考の点はここにあり。
Not a shred of his being doubt that this was his long-coveted deliverance from the accursed earthly bondage, even if it led his body and soul down a path of ruination. The first attack had annihilated a large part of the foreknown world matrix. A feat of this magnitude should have been impossible for the physical perspective, even for Reinhardt. Interesting? So how did this happen? Gratsheim hosted several million Einherjar, Their morale and experience in battle prowls across the cosmos. Isaac, who trembled in elation at the prospect of gaining his father's wish, as well as the countless Fangs, waiting in anticipation to exact their vengeance upon Mercury for shackling them with their accursed fates. Reinhardt has already became a certain form of a microcosm by himself. He would have labeled his feat as the manifestation of his love, and condemned Mercury's lack of passion for having sustained serious damage. But this outcome could not have been explained solely by emotion. Interesting that Reinhardt... They said like it should be impossible for Reinhardt, but he did it anyway. He did damage Mercurius. I mean, we know that he pretty much killed him in the previous road, almost. In the previous ending, but still. The beast was the living apotheosis of the throne. He evolved with each second spent in the presence of its master. Oh, that's the thing, right. So it's similar to like Ren being stronger as the like Reinhardt is getting stronger, right? Because they basically taking power from the... It makes sense! Mario Road makes sense now! Reinhardt said that like Ren is like getting stronger with each point opened, and like as Reinhardt is like getting stronger and stronger, and so is Ren. Now it makes sense, because they basically opened the way to Mercurius so he can like sip his power to both of them. That's why they both getting powered up at the same rate. Now it makes sense. True. Embodying ungodly power. Otherwise, not even Reinhardt would have been able to hurt the serpent. For the Legion of the Foreknown, Ward was too huge. Containing all the mortal souls from the day of creation, the serpent did indeed once acknowledge that quality overweighed quantity, and worshipped the goddess as the most supreme existence in the world. However, the opposite was also true. If robust enough, quantity could overwhelm quality. Yep. Millions? Wonderful. That was indeed an Olympian number for one born as a man. However, in the presence of the maddened whole of Mercury, it hardly amounted to a speck of dust. Thus, the fact that Reinhardt still delivered a crippling blow to the foreknown ward of the serpent stood testament to his fate as the chosen destroyer of the old order. At the same time, it meant the greatest of his powers would only manifest as he clashed with his destined foe. So Reinhardt attacked Mercurius and Ren is attacking Reinhardt, right? He could not channel his godhood against the young man. Okay. The ephemeral moment, despite being lighter than Mercury by the margin, shrugged over in her attack and instead moved in for a counter. Under normal circumstances, Reinhardt powered would have manifested equally against Mercury's heir, yet in this moment of time, he had ceased to regard the two as the same kind, choosing to instead view them as the two separate divinities. Okay, so power system here works on the perception. So basically, Reinhardt attacked both of them at the same time. But since he decided that they are not the same person, his attack had a different power level, I would say, different power against each of them. It's been stronger against Mercurius because he considered Mercurius as like the god that's been like from the for hundreds, thousands of years, basically, right? And he considers Ren as just like offspring, someone totally else than Mercurius, not as the same being. And it's been weaker against Ren. It like adjusted its power. I think that's what happened here, right? It was the manifestation of his gratitude and respect, a form of love towards another adversary who had shown him the path towards the very pinnacle of existence. His pride for warlust was immutable with the luster of gold. It would go against his sense of aesthetics, to change his perception of the young boy to bolster his powers. If anything, such a notion would never even cross his mind. As such, his thoughtless unleashing of power left him completely open for a counterattack. For this was not a duel, but a battle royale, where a single misstep could reshape the entire modality of the conflict. A clash of the three grand ambitions. Okay. The Executioner Blade severed the universe of strife, turning 5 companies of the beasts Einherjar to ash in an instant. Realizing his mistake, Reinhardt instantly shifted to the defense, but it was all too late. For he was at the odds with the universe of the ephemeral moment. Not even Gold himself was the match for the speed of time itself. Mercury! Eren can stop gods. Okay. Yet in that moment, Reinhardt believed to be fatal. Okay. And he went with Supernova. The stars of the fallen world condensed, swelling into blazing orbs of the divine fragmentation, and exploded, tearing every sky apart. Supernova, a searing wave of condensed annihilation, swept across the cosmos in less than a fraction of a second, swallowing the two in the scorching flames, tens of times more potent than those of the Crimson Nightness. It was no way the ephemeral moment turns to sustain a crippling wound. Okay. And God was not one to miss such an opening. His defense, not unlike his offense, excelled against the serpent. Left comparatively unscratched by the explosion, he shifted his lance and launched thrusts of annihilation to return the favor. Are they playing rock, paper, scissors now? His lance pierced the cosmos, scorching even his own soul in its wake. Holy shit, Reinhardt. The serpent exhaled a grasp of admiration. The ephemeral moment able to bend even the speed of light to his will, parrying the deadly attack with a hole. Oh, he attacked Ren actually. Wait, I need like full picture. Holy crap. Holy Jesus. What a scene. 3 gods basically. They pretty much destroyed the universe with just 2 of them. Now we have the third one. The third one just like stopping time. So he's not destroying the universe. But I guess like he can, if you think about this, like he can like manipulate like even light of speed and stuff. Can he like slice through time or something? Imagine like his ability to be like, I sliced you in the past, so you already sliced. That would be OP as fuck. This is so epic. Wow. What a great wallpaper to have.
Sakiを全く見てないやつに俺は負けない。そんなやつに勝利は来ない。お前たちはどれだけ強くても生産性がかけらもないんだ。俺も人のことは言えないが、だからこそここで全てを生産したいと望んでいる。
Liquidation of us operations, wow.
そんなざまで。
He pointed his blade of condemnation at Gold.
お前何をなせるっていうつもりだ。無論。
Reinhardt returned the younger man's gaze, not wavering in the slightest.
全てを愛す。それのみ。
And with that, he shifted his legion to the offense once again. Ah, how savagely bold and beautiful, and so foolish, so beyond saving. With each attack, Gold slipped deeper into the cravings of annihilation, And not only because his body couldn't withstand his own overwhelming prowess. Okay. It was far simpler than that, an absolute law dictating that the cancer cell could not outlive its host. Okay. In other words, Reinhardt was dying alongside Mercurius, regardless of how their battle concluded, the beast was unlikely to survive. So yeah, so basically, so that explains, like, gives like definite information about what happened to Reinhardt in the previous road. Like, he actually died together in the same second as Mercurius died. So Reinhardt and Mercurius, they all are bounded to be annihilated together. Like, none of them can ever achieve a throne. If you think about this, none of them. And he himself understood his fate better than anyone. Oh! Mari! Whoa! Talking about distraction during the battle, holy crap. The goddess is here to embrace the battle and the three gods. The goddess fails to comprehend what could have driven him to that extent, her chest nearly bursting from grievous pain. Why did he welcome destruction with such joy? There was as many forms to happiness as there were people. She understood that much. Yet still she failed to understand the path walked by Gold. Would Shiro understand? Would he, who held the same nature, empathize with the Gold's feeling? Or could this be, in truth, a colossal, exaggerated manifestation of that childish passion that all men possessed? And said all those things to condemn him, but Mari could sense a certain tint of wistfulness and understanding in his tone. Was he sad because the man reminded him of Shiro? Was he irritated because he saw a hint of himself in that being? Mari did not think that the law of apotheosis was all that constituted Reinhardt in his philosophy. Okay. Reinhardt Cagliostro, having cast aside the fear to be misunderstood, there was indeed no better word to describe them here, for they all burned like stars upon the night sky. Their way of being kindled an ember, a blaze within her heart, a desire to embrace them. She couldn't deny feeling anger aimed at the two pillars, who had orchestrated much of the misery that befell her loved ones. To say she was completely without resentment would have been a lie. Also, I don't know if I talked about this before or mentioned this before. If I did, then I'm sorry, but I have a question. Don't you think that Mari on the throne is like extremely vulnerable? Like, if we have like anyone else who will emanate, even the weakest of the gods, then she would lose. She have like no battle power, basically. She's just like on the throne until someone else decides that he wants to be, and he will be able to emanate. Like, she cannot fight, right? And yet she could not find it in herself to hate them. Apparently she did not possess the emotion. And Ren was not a person to fight out of anger and hate either. After all, that was why she fell in love with him, and why she wished to embrace his future above all else, despite tearfully acknowledging that he would spend that future at the side of another woman. Yep, chose another waifu. There was indeed a part of her that would rather sulk than help them build a future so ignorant of her affections. Yeah, she is jealous by nature. But happiness still scorched the majority of her being. Words alone would fail to express the sheer gratitude Mari felt towards the man who gave her a heart, who gifted her with feelings. In the end, that was what it comes down to. Marguerite Brulé, Brulé love expanded to all that she had received during the chorus of this opera. Good and evil, sorrow and joy, all that had come to pass constituted her current self. To those that were forced to dance to the whims of Cagliostro's script, this notion might have been the most infuriating thing in the world, but
だからこそ私は思うの。私が見ている。そばにいる。見捨てたりしない。お願い。抱きしめさせて。
also she have an, I just realized that she have a halo here under her head. She's like an angel.
愛しいすべて。私は永遠に見守りたい。あなたのことも。
She slowly reached out towards the maelstrom of godhood raging in the center of the singularity. The goal to destroy himself at the conclusion of this battle. An unavoidable fate, for certain. Mari wondered if it was truly a fitting one.
なぜなら
He was like Ren, a mixed breed of sorts. Unlike Cagliostro and Mari, once his godhood crumbled, his mortal soul would still remain. Right, that's why he was able to be resurrected. So the same was with Ren. His like human soul, Lotus, would remain. So that's why he can survive. So yeah, if Mercurius dies, he can no longer be. He ceases to exist, and Mari is the same. Makes sense, I guess. Would it be unwise to embrace it, like all the rest? She did not believe such an act to be one of betrayal. After all, Ren himself said he had his eyes on the future.
そうでしょう。
Was the purest form of friendship truly that of mutual destruction? So, where is Mari in this fight? In general, is she like just a huge giant spirit overseeing everything? Or she's actually like within Ren blades? I'm not sure. Maybe you explained this to me like in previous episode or this episode, I don't know how I cut this. Maybe you actually explained this to me, because I've been confused about like where is Mari, basically when like this like background with clocks appeared behind Ren and stuff. But yeah, like what is Mari like in general as the concept here? I think like she's like just like a giant like invisible to them spirit that is like just overseeing the whole fight or something.
そんな悲しいこと。
She extended her arms with that one wish in her heart.
愚問 K には分からぬ女の出る幕ではない
Okay. The haughty gold brushed her hand off with firmness, yet not without the grace of one who knew how to treat a lady.
私の愛は破壊である故にそれしか知らぬしそれしかできぬ
Okay.
そしてそれこそ我が波動なり
So she's kind of physical there. Like she can touch them in general, but she's not fighting. She's like overseeing them and like trying to embrace them. He had no need for the woman's sympathy. No, normally one would interpret such behavior as the childish bravado, but in his case alone, it was the genuine manifestation of his will. There was not a shred of doubt in his words. Reinhard Heydrich had chosen his path with absolute conviction and pride.
土台戦争単体では成立せぬ概念よならばこそ敵を求めるゆえに部下を愛し率いて壊すのみ私の楽土は鉄風雷下の三千世界だここにまみえた友らを抱こう砕け散るほどに愛させてくれなあカールよ刹那よこんなものでは終わらぬよな
I like how he stopped calling Ren or Zarathustra. He's literally calling him a ephemeral moment. I guess like this is so okay, now it makes sense. Okay. He's calling him a ephemeral moment because he recognized him as separate being from Mercurius. That's why he called him Kraft and not Zarathustra, because Zarathustra is substitute for Karl. And since he acknowledges Ren as someone else, he calls him Ephemeral Moment as his godhood is now like emerging. The golden radiance of the lance grew even brighter as the beast allowed her innermost desires to take the form of the unrestrained whole.
共にこの宇宙で歌い上げよう。大いなる祝福を。フロエバイナハテン。
Okay.
しかり、これほど心躍る宴はない。アクタエスとファーブラ。
The supernova and the light of the absolute destruction clashed, their godhoods melting into the explosion of mutual synergy, transcending to infinity. As such, the ephemeral moment, left behind in this race of evolution, found itself at the grave disadvantage. The interminable netherworld could not keep up with the struggling eternal recurrence and the boundless destruction. And Ren really seems like he's not really comparing to these two. In this clash of the fragrant ambitions, targeting the weakest one first was all inevitable. Yeah, it's going to attack Ren. The two were in perfect synchronization under manifestation of the relationship, as they unleashed their godhoods to eradicate the cosmos of interminability. Okay. Ren, time to evolve! Mari, help! The stars of the like, Ren is like the... Ren and Mercurius are the only ones that will accept Mari embrace here in this fight, because as we saw, Reinhardt will not. The stars of the Forno world aligned into a grand cross, extended along the entire universe. A tsunami of gravitational pull that caused the blood of everyone in its vicinity to reach boiling point in a blink of an eye. A mortal man, no, even a demigod, would have exploded from inside, right then and there, to say nothing of the incessant artillery fire from Gladsheim Panzer Grenadiers. There she is! Help! The overwhelming tyranny of violence forced Mari to divert her attention and start towards the young man. He fought to regain his old self, to allow the goddess to inherit the throne, yet still she couldn't stop herself. She struggled to reach Ren, regardless of how much help she could actually provide the young man, yet moments before she could. Okay, he's fine. Somehow. He gently pushed her away. Oh. Okay. A regular ground cross might have distributed the waves on the surface of the earth, but this thing in the sky was a billion magnitudes larger in size. There was no way he could have been alright after being exposed to that. His entire body had been covered in lacerations, with bloody smoke emerging from the slits of his wounds. Yeah, even now. You can hear how Mari is sulking in her voice. He would keep going on about how he was fine. Even Mari, despite being fundamentally different from mortals, could pick up on his lies. And she hated him for using unfair words like that, almost as much as she loved him. He truly was an infuriating man to the core. What would he do if his bravado ended up making her change her mind? He made a faint smile. Interesting. What reason do you have? Mari comprehended the meaning of his absolute words in an instant. You mean like Mercurius and Reinhardt basically killing each other? And you just have to stay on the fence? Or something? Or what's happening?
そうだよ。
And in that moment,
さあどうした？
what happening? Ren is cooking something. Masada, what are you doing?
ここで落ちるか？ならば解く光となれ！
The opportunity came as if it had been planned in advance. Oh.
終焉を望む者、死の極点を目指す者。
This color reminds me of Machina. What? Why Reinhardt just changed color? Oh no, is he going to use Machina Craving to delete Ren? Holy Jesus. Imagine Demigod Machina. He can just pulverize universe with his Deus Ex Machina Briach. What the hell?
唯一無二の終わりこそを求めるゆえに、鋼の愚道に曇りなし。幕引きの鉄拳。
Annihilation, Eradication, the end. The very steel that encompassed the highest destructive power in the cosmos, now manifested on the stage.
そうだ。お前を待っていた。
I remember our promise. The wish he entrusted me with. Oh, wait, he said like he will like do something, right? Wait. It's like demigod version of Machina basically going to turn his back to Reinhardt and help Ren? Holy Jesus. As such, it was time for me to finally fulfill it.
名前を呼んでくれって言ったよな。心配するな。砕け散るがいい。見つかれず、ボルセングサガ。
Wow, I like how both Reinhardt and Machina voices just been together in this one. Not gonna lie, Reinhardt with like black flames around is awesome. His all-ending fist crushed into my palm. Under normal circumstances, it would have shattered my very soul to pieces. But not this time. After all... Okay. He had entrusted his end to my ephemeral moment. And... Oh shit, Shiro! The fuck? And of course this wouldn't be the end of it. Wait, what? Why we have Shiro?
Shiro! お前もだ! 帰ってこい!
Wait, is Ren like stealing souls from Reinhardt now? A tremor of unprecedented magnitude ran across the whole Gladsheim.
どうしたんだい? 彼が呼んでる。行かないのか?
Whose voice is that? That's new? What? Why we are in the church? A rigorous clash of multitude of individual words, akin to a cosmic tug of war, commenced within the microcosm of absolute destruction. During the split second of the hegemony of gold wavered, the stronger souls momentarily regained their consciousnesses.
いろいろと罰が悪いのもあるんだろうが、そこまで意固地にならなくてもいいだろう。僕も一緒に謝ってあげるから。さあほら、おいで。
Whose voice is that? Who is it?
でも
That's Sakurai, right?
でもじゃない。
Oh! I'm not sure who that was.
まったく昔は可愛い子だったのに面倒な性格になっちゃったのね。それも私たちのせいなのかな。
I don't know who this voice belongs to.
もういい加減素直になったら。これからはずっと一緒にいてあげるから。
This is not Rusauka. I won't leave your side anymore. Hmm.
ああ、それは絶対約束する。
That's Kai. The guy is the Kai, brother of Sakurai. And the other one, I don't know who. I don't think I heard this voice before, or maybe it's like the weird Rusauka voice for some reason, but I don't think so. Maybe it's her mother? Or something? Who was that? I think I forgot someone's voice. Someone who's been like maybe rarely in the game. The hand of salvation. She had dreamed for all her life has now descended before her, washing clean away all her sins and doubts. Tears came welling in her eyes. She felt like a child again.
そういうことです。ビッテンブルグ少佐。私は行かせていただきます。
Oh, this is okay. Now I know. This is Beatrice. Valkyria, right?
たとえ道を違えても、あなたのことは忘れません。またいつかどこかで会えると信じています。
So Valkyria is going also to Ren.
ジークハイル。そうね。きっとまたいつか。
That's Lisa.
イザーク、あなたがそこを選ぶなら何も言わない。私に何かを言う権利も資格もないのだし、ただレアに言われたことを忘れないで。
Damn.
そして私も愛しているわ。
Awesome.
まあ今さら私が言ったところで
Tifa!
何の役にも立たないでしょうが。
Ren is like stealing everyone from Reinhardt. What the hell?
テレジアの未来とその結末を見届けるためにもこちらに属すのは当然のことでしょうね。
So basically, everyone who rebelled against Reinhardt in this one moment got like free will per se. They got connected by like Machina Fist basically to Reinhardt Castle. Reinhardt and Ren got connected by Machina, and he created like a bridge for the souls basically to traverse through or something like this. You know? Like he made a crack in Ren so the others can like go through it. If you think about this, I will make an analogy like that. I think like it's fine, right?
まあ正直あなたについては今でも私かなりムカついてるんですけどね。
同じくだがそれもせんないことだよ。新世界に古い因縁をいつまでも引っ張り続けるわけにはいかない。
私は
But as the last one of the group slowly raised her head,
だーうるせえどいつもこいつもぐちぐちこれだからジジイとババアはまったくよ。
okay, I'm glad we have Shiro back. Holy crap.
私はそんな年じゃないでしょ。
ちなみに僕もそうなんだが。
私はどんな感じ？ダメでしょ。
ええ
Wow.
さすがに
Wow.
それは
ちょっとカイ。
とにかく
Hey, cut the other short. He cut the other short, but his characteristically laid-back smile never once left his lips. Almost as if if to say he was proud to be a part of this. He no longer felt for knowledge.
スミもエリーもドイツもこいつもみんなまとめて面倒見てくれるっつうからついていこうや。
Oh, Kasumi and Ellie are still in him, I think, right? So they're like souls condensed within the soul. I guess it makes sense, right? It's not like, for example, let's say like, I don't know, like Reinhardt like taking Schreiber's soul, right? Then it's not like he's like separating his soul to like other things. He's just like taking one soul. So same with Shiro. Whatever he's inside, he have inside with him, then it's that. So we cannot have Kasumi or Ellie back actually.
でないと真っ先に言ったあのむっつりと俺らの大将がホモ祭り始めちまうぜ。
Wow.
それは嫌です。
Nice.
だったら
In reality, their conversation took but a fraction of a millisecond.
一丁派手に 最後の花火をあげようじゃねえか。
Oh, he have actually chains. Wait, he can use Rusauka Agner Bear actually. What? Masada. What? He never get his hand on her Agner Bear. How the fuck does he have it? He had this in previous road. He never had the opportunity to have it in this one. Why? They all felt the ephemeral moment as they threw beacon of light. It was Gold who ended up blasted away by the result of explosion, but that was the least of his troubles. Yeah! Oh, there was Rusauka actually!
なんと
Oh! Ren have his own demigods now. Why they're so epic? So one of the voices been actually Rusauka, because she appeared here. I just didn't realize for some reason. In that moment of contact, a whole group of Einherjar that constituted the very core of Gladsheim defected to the other side.
どうよ相棒。俺って相変わらずいい仕事するだろ。
Yeah.
ああ、また随分とこのバカは予想以上にごっそり連れてきてくれたじゃないか。
Nice. Legion, the power to bind other souls under one's command. Reinhardt used the very same method to build his army of Einherjar. Subjugation versus friendship, slavery versus cooperation. There might have been a difference in their approaches, but both of them could absorb and infuse the souls of others with artificial godhood. So yeah, this is basically the same principle that happened in Mario Road, when Ren had like also Shiro on his side, and it was also the thing of like slavery against friendship, basically. The same thing, the same principles fighting each other with Reinhardt and Ren.
まあそういう無茶こけるのも俺の特性らしくてな。正味自分でも笑っちまった話なんだが。喜べよ、レン。俺様、ちょっとした。
So normally Ren couldn't do that. It's just because Shiro have like a godhood at this point, artificial godhood. So he's more than demigod. Like other LDO members on under like Reinhardt been demigods basically at this point. Shiro himself is basically a god that can command other souls. Holy shit, Shiro is amazing.
ええ、そりゃまた。
In a clash of hegemony against hegemony, the souls of the conquered territory would flow to the side of the victor, bolstering their strength even further. In truth, it was precisely the kind of power struggle that had already been going on within the space. Yet this was the first time it manifested through such a significant realignment of power. The hegemony of Ren's craving was indeed tremendous, and it was certainly easier to mingle with souls that retained their consciousness, like Shiro and the rest. But that alone couldn't possibly be enough to break the gold's chains of subjugation. Shiro was right. They had a trump card of sorts.
さすがに覚えたばっかっつうか、自覚したばっかでよ。名前なんか決めてねえし、加減も全くできねえけど。
So basically, so Shiro basically is emanating at this point. He have like actual absolute degree, but he don't even know what the fuck is happening or how to name it. What? What?
ま、要は。
Oh. Oh crap. Everyone gangsta until Shiro eyes glowing. He raises his two pistols, pointing one at Gold and one at the Mercury. What an absolute badass. He aimed and pulled the trigger.
マジいらねえよ。てめえらみたいな腐れが。
that the bullets launched with the deafening explosion, decimating the legions of the two, ravaging them to the core. It should have not been possible. Even Ren, whose very soul had now been connected with Shiro's, gaped in astonishment at that otherworld defeat. It was not like his bullet penetrated their defenses. In truth, as far as raw power was concerned, they could hardly even compare to the godhoods of the two. Nevertheless, they pierced their targets, as if their defenses had unrailed by themselves the moment they came in contact. At first glance, the phenomenon might have appeared much like fists of those ex machina, yet their true nature couldn't be more different.
面倒な男がいるものだ。好きにはなれん。まあ贅沢を言っていられる時でもない。これを最後の蘇りとして。俺は俺としての生を終わりたい。
ミハエル。
The Grand Cross that until moments ago had displayed a fearsome surge of power, now shattered to a million pieces as another man, no less troublesome, and just as dangerous as my other friend, came to my side.
言うねえネクラちゃん。俺もお前みたいなのは苦手だしよ。せいぜい背中に気ぃつけて頑張れや。
そうし。それはこちらが言いたいセリフだ。
The words they exchanged were anything but immaculable. Yet mere moments later, they plunged into the fray together. Their thinly veiled displeasure aside, the two moved in perfect sync, dashing to the opposite ends of the battlefield, extending Ren's dominion.
流れ弾には気ぃつけろよ。こいつはちょっと敵も味方もクソもねえんだ。
Okay. So, what exactly is ability of, like, Shiro then? Similar to Machina, but a little bit different, something different. It's not like, it's like piercing defenses without destroying them or something? Also, it's attacking friends and foes. Okay.
それが神とかいうふざけたもんである限り
This is evidently a godhood. Okay. His guns would launch the very casualty of self-destruction. All godhoods that came in contact with Shiro's bullet would be instantly driven to suicide, regardless of their defenses or state of mind. Holy Jesus! Of course, self-inserted Masada is the strongest one. Holy... How is this even fair? How is this even fair? What if you hit Mari? Don't hit Mari? And their effect was most likely relative to Ren's own powers. Shiro couldn't possibly channel superior distraction to the legion he was part of.
つまり何事も俺次第っていうわけか。
Okay, makes sense.
そういうこと。
Ren capacity had jumped under threshold as he escaped Mercury Dominion and entered the battle purely as himself. As he ceased being a mere puppet, there remained little difference in individual power between the three demigods on the battlefield. However, unlike the other two, he had no other souls under his command, which put him at a severe disadvantage, just barely overtuned by the presence of Shiro and his powers. A decree that caused the self-ruination of all godhoods, provided they weren't of a higher rank than Ren's. Thus the difference in number of souls became meaningless. Okay, so Shiro can basically one-hit anyone if they're like roughly around the same level as Ren. Okay, so it's OP as fuck, but it's not as OP as you can think. Okay. Against it, the thickness of armor or sharpness of the blade mattered equally little. It nonetheless managed to penetrate Gladsheim and claim its souls for Ren, yeah? If misused, however, it could just as easily load to one's own destruction. Yeah. After all, Ren would cast away his godhood following this battle.
らしい。
I cannot like the why this is just so good. Like just peak. The infinite vermilion hell of Padma assaulted the throne like a storm of flower petals, lighting a blaze of undiluted ecstasy in Reinhardt's chest. After all, he had composed to the love of destruction. He would not differentiate between loyal subordinates and defect renegades.
いいぞ、もっと見せてくれ。グラズヘイムの空に走った亀裂すらもが麗しい。案ずるな、私は負けん。切り離されようとも範囲されようとも愛してやろう。未来永劫この至福の中で。
He felicitated the loyalty of his vassals while praising the actions of the rebels at the same time. Those might have appeared like contradictory thoughts to hold, but to him, they were in no way different. For the battle with the worthy adversary had been to him the sole means of salvation.
カールよ、Kはすべての誓いを果たしてくれた。これほどの旋律、これほどの充足、かつて味わったことはなく。
そして無論
The same truth applied to him, who acted as the antithesis of gold.
二度と体験することもない。生涯一度。
ゆえ輝いている。
Brilliance, so fierce and intense as a single caress could easily decapitate them.
なんたる愚昧か、なんたる甘美か。何故刃に触れる心地とは、これ病みつきになる。止められぬ。すべてを忘れ投げ捨てて、この仰せに没頭したくなってしまうぞ。はい。私もまた、刹那に見せられたものならば、よりまばゆい閃光を見せてくれよ。
The throne of Mercury trembled. It constituted a law binding the entire cosmos, and as such, rewrote the world in the fashion of its master. This man, however, possessed a craving thus far unprecedented among all sentient beings. Eternal recurrence, a circle that tied together the beginning and the end, a law that ignored the rules of time, turning ends into beginnings. Ever clinging to life, yet yearning for the embrace of death, more than anyone, a being that embodied the very concept of antimony, yet who was governed by the ironclad logic.
踊れ、あまねく万象、女神を主演とした舞台装置。我が脚本に舞う演者なり。さあ、今宵のグランギニョルを始めよう。
Another Grand Gungar? In other words, he had complete control of the movements, the rotations, and the revolutions of planetary bodies. He would make the stars align to his will. Rob Hale's sealing absolute and unbending futures. The universe as the whole obeyed his script. And to a being who could realign the cosmos at will, even the concept like time meant painfully little. Okay, so Ren can do shit against Mercurius, right? I mean, okay, they're like roughly the same, it seems. But still, like, time is little concern to him. By rearranging the Milky Way, he could make it so that something never even existed to begin with. He waved his aria like a spell, comprised of alien words from the ancient tongue. Its syllables made the throne of the universe tremble. No one could have known that this was once the decree of Mercury Precursor. The fuck is happening? Time paradox of elementary particles. What? It was the very embodiment of power that could annihilate the contradiction of multiple cosmos occupying a single space. In short, it was the universe-scale suppressor of contradictionary phenomena, and as such, could exhibit an unrivaled effect against his cancerous apotheosis. What the actual fuck? How strong can Mercurius go? However,
どれだといや違うな
okay.
そも誰よりも踊りたがっているのは K であろうに
The two pillars returned his words with dignity, as the very cosmos around them melted like the sugar cube in the summer heat. For it was the serpent who had been the most contradictionary of them all. Okay. It was he who should have suffered the most from the earlier attack. And thus, there was but one reason for him to unveil it.
お前の渇望
ただ己も舞台に上がりたかった
Huh. Huh. Interesting. Through their craving, so it's not like I want to see. That's what I was like thinking about. Like, what is it like his like original craving? Because like we think Mari is later, so his craving is not to be embraced by Mari. Being atop on the stage, huh? So he's like making a puppet by everyone, making like others on the stage, and they're on the spotlight. But in reality, he wanted to be on the spotlight. Huh. Interesting. He had grown weary of it all. He had resigned to his fate. He started his existence from the pit of bottomless despair, wishing only for death to claim him. But that was not good enough. He could not find it in himself to acknowledge such a miserable end. His death had to mark something significant, like the advent of the goddess. He wished to die in her embrace, up on the stage. He wished to be a jester dancing in the limelight of his play, even if conclusion was the most tried and wearisome finale imaginable.
違うかなカール
Okay, makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. Because being embraced by the goddess actually feels like being like on top of the stage, like your final act on your Grand Gargoyle. Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
あ
The trembling serpent nodded, his lips curling into a smile.
あるいはその通りやもしれんだったら
K もまた演者たれ我が愛にかけて後悔はさせん
The words urging the serpent to accept his own demise rang like the joyous blessing in his ears. Now we have three laughing.
笑ってんじゃね
Oh, just two of them laughing. Okay, never mind, my bad. I mean, yeah, I guess makes sense. Ren is not that crazy. Love, jubilation, bloodlust. They collided and were swept backwards again. The three pillars had all mustered the final reserves of their power. The next clash would most likely prove to be their last. Each of them knew this well, yet their expressions, even amidst that raging torrent of divinity, remained utterly tranquil.
ここらがしようかやれやれいついかなる時も充実した刹那というものはすぐに過ぎ去るそれは私でさえどうにもできん
That's so cool.
マルグリットに出会ったあの日も時が止まればよいと思ったよ
Okay.
ならばこそその願いここに結実させたのだろう K は全くもってあれこれと一つの渇望からよくもそれだけ多彩な枝が生まれるもの悪いかね
Reinhardt shook his head. He was not one to deny others, and certainly not his sworn friend.
いやそれもまた K らしい 輪郭は常に曖昧。故に壊れがたくすり減らない。
はあ、気の遠くなるほど歩いてきた。その果てのこれが果たして私の望んだ終わりへ至るか。断言できることはただ一つ。私が果てれば、
Yeah.
お前たちもまた色を失う。
Yep,
今のままでは存在できん。
we know that.
なあ、最後に聞こう。それで構わぬと本当に思っているのか？
無論。
言ったところでお前にはわからないだろう。
Anger, resignation, and a tingle of sorrow lingered in the young man's tone. The serpent, the master of throne, was only pure blood of the three, as he possessed no human self to speak of. Retaining it through the lures of his godhood would have been concept more alien to him. So, so Mercurius never been a human to begin with. So he's always been a god, basically, but he was like outside the throne, I would say. Like there was like some other god on the throne, and at some point that he decided like, hey, you know what, I want to be like one true god, so I will just like defeat you. Something like that? Seems like it. Because they suggest like he never was a human actually. Huh.
俺は神様になんかなれない。そんな器じゃないし、こんな力はいらない。恵んでもらった力振るって、それにすがってなきゃ生きていけない情けない男にはなりたくなんかないんだよ。
Also, I forgot, so you can like remind me actually about Mario Road. In Mario Road, Reinhardt like didn't die, right? He kind of like went to the air and like disappeared, so his soul like got somewhere. I said like he looks like he's ascending or something. So is Reinhardt somewhere in like God universe in Mario Road basically? Because Mercurius is alive, and because of Mercurius is alive, Ren can still stopping time because, well, he's God as well, right? Like he can like eternally stop time and just walk on the earth. Mercurius just is alive and like letting Mari emanate. So since Reinhardt didn't get like slashed by Ren, then he should be fine too. So he just disappeared and he's like somewhere around this like throne thing, I guess. Huh. It was something that the transcendent pureblood could never understand. The serpent himself had long since forgotten the beginning of his eternal travels through reoccurrence. Ren understood that words would do little to help, yet he couldn't help saying it. For the sake of everything that led him here, to this present moment, as well as the future he would build.
たとえその果てに自分が自分で亡くなっても、それは死じゃない。負けじゃないんだ。
やはり K にはわからぬか。
After a moment of silence that felt like eternity, the serpent shook his head.
信玄として胸に刻もう。彼女はお前のそういうところを愛
Okay.
したのだろうし。
The goddess was yet another pureblood. Her circumstances might have been different, but he felt nothing but respect and love for the one woman he bent his knee to. What determines when you are pureblood? Because Mari been a human before, and she became pureblood suddenly? I'm kinda confused. What determines when you are pure blood? I mean, I know that you are not pure blood when the one on the throne or like another pure blood god basically creates you, then you are not pure blood. But what determines why you are pure blood, even though you were a human before? How does that work? Is it like you got your powers like by yourself, they awakened just spontaneously at some point. Like, you just been like chosen basically to be the pure blood god. Is that a thing? So it's similar to like Mari being a human, and then suddenly she started decapitating people, and that's the time when she became a pure blood basically, because it just awakened within her. Maybe it's the thing. It's just the awakening, sudden awakening, without anyone influence. Maybe that's the thing. As such, the philosophy of the man she loved must have been just as genuinely. Even as he acknowledged that fact, he still felt a hint of irony if filled his heart. Why did he think that the young man would be worthy of the goddess' love? Where did his conviction stem from? As the hapless prisoner of the eternally unfruitful love, how could he possibly know? As she found the man not to her liking and cast him aside, their play would have dispersed into nothingness like bubble in the sea foam, falling apart like the laughable farce it was. It was true that the soul that he had used for the boy's core was fit to command the instruments of the execution. But what of it? That could not have been all. Why did he feel such an unwavering conviction that everything would work out? He infused the boy with the blood to guide him to the degree of Atziluf, but could it be that he hoped it would help him in his quest for love? The very thought of it felt comical enough to make him laugh. It seems like as if he genuinely thought himself worthy of the goddess. If he ever felt emotion akin to bashfulness, it was now. As such, he tried to dispel the thought of changing the subject to his friend. Did his sworn friend wish to escape his shadow as well? Reinhardt answered to the ever-taintless pride and conviction of the Golden Monarch. Yeah, pretty much. Uh-huh. You changed. You actually changed. Or maybe more like you got opportunity to change. Yeah. His real self was the secondary importance, for his entire soul would focus only on the singular urge that currently drove him. A decision perhaps influenced by the role of the apotheosis. Yet the beast's word carried the majestic radiance that the man none would dare like call a puppet. Could it be that the gold had long since escaped the serpent's spell? That was indeed possible, or rather the serpent himself wished it to be so, as the turmoil of emotions waged war within his entire being. For if it were so, theirs would have been a friendship. That would have been a friendship left untainted. Yeah, sorry. A relationship not between apotheosis and hosts, but two men sharing a bond. The resolve for the ephemeral moment, the love of the goddess. He had no choice but to affirm the value of the sparks that refused to remain shackled by his law. He condensed the remaining stars of the forlorn world.
ではこれを最後に歌劇を締めよう。
Okay,
輝
last
ける
clash.
新世界の到来を願って。
Yep, the new world will happen after this one thing. In the climax of this battle, the goddess pondered. Oh, Mari?
カリオストロ
The damn distraction.
感じた思いは必ずしも気のせいじゃない。麺に自分の血を混ぜることで私を変えられると信じたこと。
She craved to touch and embrace people. Thus the one who would change her had to belong to the same race. But Mari, being the embodiment of blade of execution, could not touch any mortal.
面倒な女でごめんね。
He was forced to find a soul, despite attaining godhood, for the infusion of the serpent blood would cast the throne of the universe aside, striving to remain human against all odds. Like Ren, would stress that his craving was not worthy of dominion, despite unleashing his Atsiluf.
そんな奇跡のような魂は他にあなたくらいしかいないから。
For a pure blood, like Serpent, losing his godhood meant nothing but death. Yet, that was precisely what he had been wishing for. He did not even realize that he possessed such a rare and miraculous soul. And through that, he would attain his true self. Might have been aiming for a different direction from Ren, yet the two were ultimately very much alike.
だから全てを仕組んだんでしょ。
So, Mercurius wants to die but also wants to survive. Actually. But he's unable to. The words of gratitude carried a hint of exasperation mixed with indignation. The serpent would do well not to get the wrong idea. She was still very much angry with him, and in the end, it was Ren and him who changed her. Although she did feel somewhat like a mother trying to lecture a disobedient child, no matter what she did, he would find pleasure in it.
その願い叶えたい。絶対叶えてみせる。
Okay.
あなたの友達も全部終わった後なら聞く耳持ってくれるかな。
And with that, the opera entered its final phase. Its name? Yep. Acta est fabula. The end of the play. Also sprach Zarathustra, the tale of the new world. The hegemony of the goddess emanated into the cosmos, equally enveloping the three grand pillars of divine might. Her compassionate prayer, like something blanket across all creation. Oh! Oh, this is like this game name. Amentas Amentis. Oh, that's her thing. Oh, okay. Now I was like wondering for a while, like original game was like called Acta Est Fabula, and it's like basically what is like Mercurius Atsilov, like his emanation. And I was wondering why would they change the name of the game in like the remake, basically, because it's kind of we can treat this kind of like a quote remake, right? We just like added some stuff, right? Why would they change name instead of just like keeping the same and just like calling it like Plus or something? It actually makes sense because now she's the main focus. Huh. Also, yeah, this thing was also again like around Ren, when like he's been emanating and Mari been like this like spirit above him. So we have like Reinhardt, Beast, Golden Beast. Why we have like Eagle and Bull? I don't get this. Shouldn't we have like Serpent? No. Why Eagle and Bull? I'm not sure. Is it supposed to be like, I don't know, like Machina and like Shiro or something? What does it, what this two represents? I'm not sure. I cannot figure it out. Isn't that the name of one of the side stories? Like the third one? I think? That we played last time? May all your wishes find fruition and bliss. Not all forms of affection manifested as the pure and innocent. But that was why Marguerite Bruley, I believed them to be worth treasuring. As flickers of light illuminating the whole of cosmos. She could embrace their craving without question, without hesitation. As the manifestation of the law only she could act. And in the end, Mari embraced all three participants in the final battle. Each of them harbored their very own form of love. Though some of their desires were ones of utter and fruitful madness, they were none other as companions without question, able to conquer the very universe, bending it to their will. While what I? Whose perspective is this?
Ah. これで終わりか。
Oh. Oh, we have normal Ren. In the cosmos. Mari embraced them. Mercurius died. And Ren lost his godhood. That's why he's in normal form now. But he's still Ren, not Lotus. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Also, does any of you remember that Kasumi gave him this cross? Or I'm mistaken. Wait, she gave him something about and talk about Mercury. I think, yeah, it was this cross, yeah. Do you remember the candle girl? When I was faced with the complete erasure of my existence.
覚悟はしていたことだけど、やっぱり気持ちのいいものじゃない。
Okay. Sure, I was both scared and unnerved. I mean, I was your average, run-of-the-mill guy. So I didn't exactly possess the steel nerves to remain calm in a situation like this. Nor did I wish to. But I had no regrets. If I began doubting myself, I probably wouldn't have pulled through the final battle to begin with. All I felt now was gratitude, and I wished to put it into words.
ありがとう、シロ、ミハイル。そして他の奴らも。いずれまた新世界で会おう。
Maybe. Let's see what Mari is going to cook this time. Last time she cooked like bittersweet ending. How is it going to be now? I believe in such a future, if it could be called so, in this space beyond time. A world the goddess embraced await us. There was nothing to worry about. Thank you, and goodbye. I would continue living as a man, living my memories with her in this place. Hopefully she would watch over us in our next lives. This is actually so sad. This is actually so damn sad that they lose all the memories of this. Oh, but it's for the better, I guess. And as I uttered those words, he remembered. Remembers the lotus. I thought I could get a glimpse of something. Perhaps my own future. It hardly warranted much surprise. So my royalty existed in that age. It would take quite a while for us to have our reunion, but I was not complaining. It was the true catharsis of my being. I would reclaim the life I was once robbed of and make it count this time. That would be the only way to meet her on the common ground. Or like, maybe they're going to meet like normal humans, because... what year is it? Here, 2000? Or something? So Ren would be like... I don't know, let's say 70 years old. When Rhea will be around. So they will meet again, maybe not as the lovers anymore, but for the short while before Ren dies of the old age or something. Yeah. Until then, I'll be looking forward to that test of hers. Yeah, she said that she would test him. I wasn't sure if she could hear my voice, but as the gesture of apology I decided to tell her something that she would no doubt be very curious about.
どっちが強いの？勝ったの？負けたの？そんなことばっかり気にして男の子ってバカみたい。実は先輩もそういうの気になる口だろ。四郎の時も聞いてきたもんな。
Huh. I remember it well. She was, after all, quite the volatile type, so she couldn't help obsessing over victories and defeats herself. She probably told me that thing earlier partly as a mantra to contain herself. But in the end, curiosity was not something we mortals could fight.
俺とラインハルトとメルクリウスのぶっちゃけ誰が一番強くて勝ったのかって言われる。
Every one of you would pick yourself, right? My answer remained the same. A clear and straightforward declaration I considered the one and only truth of the universe.
俺に決まってんでしょ。主人公っすよ。
Of course. Oh wow, and he's disappearing now. He's turning literally into the cosmic dust. This is actually beautiful and sad at the same time. And the time had come for me to receive the ending I wished for. I made a smile, beaming with pride. One belonging to the victor.
よければ連中の負け惜しみでも聞いてやってくださいよ。
And he's gone. I could finally return to my true self. Let's meet Lotus again. The first thing assails me as I came to was an inexplicable headache. I think we are going to end here. This is once again Rhea perspective. She's waking up, right? So I think we are end here. And like next episode is going to be like last episode of main story of this era. And then we are going to have the side story, that extra story that is supposed to be unlocked after this one. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me. What an epic battle. The battle of principles, battle of gods. Everyone prepared for their own demise, for different reasons. What a grand goal. Wow. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching this episode. I will see you in the next one. Leave a like if you like the episode, subscribe for more, check my Discord, and become a member if you would like to support me and see episodes earlier. So yeah, thank you once again. Comments are yours. And for the Pocket Watch, it's going out.